Once again, I welcome you this morning to Nigeria's first real estate radio, Cedarwood Luxury Online Radio. How was your night? Hope you had a wonderful night, and I hope your day is going fine as planned. Welcome to the real estate market trend. The real estate. And it is such an honor to come your way again this morning. I really would love to hear from you at this very moment. Let me know where you are watching me from. Yes, let me know where you are watching me from, where you can hear me from. Do not also forget to like, comment, and share so that everyone would be a part of this session. And of course, that's a beautiful sound from the One Sound, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Yes, Consuming Fire, one of my favorite track right here. A big shout out to the One Sound family. God bless you all, and I hope to see more from you. This morning we have a very, very important discussion on the real estate market trend. It is something that came as a result of the recent happening right here in Lagos. I'm sure many of you saw the video. The video went viral. It was everywhere on social media. An entire estate that was demolished right here in Lagos, Lekki to be precise, and a lot of concern has been raised, a lot of questions, a lot of people have been saying a lot of things, all right, different opinions. When I checked the video on social media, when I went through the comment section, it was filled with a lot of comments. And you see, it is not just enough for us to sit down and complain. It's not just enough for us to talk about all these things. Oh, the government did this. Oh, it's bad. Oh, yes, we can go. Yes, we have the right to complain. Yes, we have the right to query the government. But do you know that you can avoid, this from happening? You can avoid getting a property, and you can avoid getting a property. Yes, you can avoid building a house. You can avoid spending unnecessary money. And in years to come, it becomes a waste. And this is the reason why I want to talk about this morning. Yes, this is the inspiration behind the topic for this morning. How do we avoid wasting millions and billions of naira into investment of homes, properties, land, and tomorrow we are facing demolition, we are facing theft and all that, fraud and all that thing. It is very, very key we have this discussion so that we would cut down on unnecessary complaints. We will cut down on unnecessary loss of lives, properties, and also money as well, investment as well. I saw a comment and somebody said, Nigeria is not a good place to invest. I really felt bad with that comment because it would be discouraging to even foreigners saying that comment, all right? It would be discouraging. So it is important we know some of these things in order for us to avoid future regrets, pain, and unnecessary complaint and cries. Please do not forget to like, comment, and share so that everyone will be a part of this session. Yes, do not be stingy with this session, though. Yeah, do not be stingy with it. Yes, do not forget to like, comment, and share so that everyone will be. It is an informative time. Yes, it is an informative time. It is a session that would educate you, that would open your mind, that would bring you to an understanding. Ignorance is not an excuse at the end of the day. So for you to avoid any form of ignorance, for you not to be deformed, you have to be informed. And that is why I have taken out time. I have decided to give you the right information that you need when it comes to buying properties, when it comes to investing into the real estates. Yes, this is to let everyone know that the Cedarwood Luxury Radio Studio is open to everyone. It is highly equipped. Yes, we are highly equipped and we are ready to give you the very best of studio experience. So if you're out there, you've been looking out for a studio to run online radio programs, record podcasts, record jingles, create content and all that. Don't worry. Do not worry. Look no further. Look no further. The Cedarwood Luxury Radio Studio is highly equipped and we are ready. We are here, set on standby to give you the very best of studio experience.
Looking for a studio to run online radio shows, podcast series, record jingles? The Cedarwood Luxury Studio is highly equipped and available to give you the very best of studio experience.
So do well to reach out to us. Do well to reach out to us via our social media platforms. And trust me, we'll be here to give you the very best of studio experience. All right, this morning we want to quickly talk about due diligence and steps to take before buying a property. Due diligence steps to take before buying properties in Nigeria. Yes, due diligence steps to take before buying properties in Nigeria. Buying a property in Nigeria can be very, very challenging. Yes, very, very challenging. I mean, many of you must have experienced this and you can attest to the fact that buying properties in Nigeria really, really can be very challenging. One should consider many factors and conduct due diligence steps before proceeding with any form of property purchase. However, there are about two major forms of due diligence steps that we want to talk about this morning. And this is a big recommendation to any investor, any developer, or any person that wants to patronize the real estate industry. The first step is physical inspection, and the second is legal procedures. Let's start with the first steps. Physical inspection. The physical inspection step involves you visiting the property, most especially if it's a landed property. There are various important parameters you need to pay attention to and look out for during your visitation to land sites. So, like I made mention earlier, ignorance is not an excuse. And this real estate physical condition checks includes the following. Number one, if I were you, I would take note. Although the good thing of this session is it will remain on our Facebook timeline and also on our YouTube page. So you can go back and go over it over and over and over again. Especially for those of you in the abroad. Many of you have experienced a lot of what's the word I'm going to use now? Let me just say regrettable experience investing into real estate or getting properties from the abroad. And for the fact that yes, it is a good thing. All right, it is a good thing, and I would encourage every one of you in the abroad. Yeah, permit me to put it that way. Every one of you in the abroad, in as much as you are there is nowhere like home. All right, there is no place like home. In as much as you are over there making money, living your life, it is important you also invest in your motherland, because at the end of the day, you have somewhere to run back to. You have somewhere to lay your head. You have something to fall back to if anything should happen, and God forbid anything will happen. But it is also key. It is important that you consider, and for those of you that have had regrettable experience, you do not have to give up. You don't have to give up, all right? You don't have to give up. You just have to ensure you do not make take the same or take the wrong step that you took initially. So it is key you also pay attention to this session, to this very program, because I want to save you from any further regrettable experience. Be it here in Nigeria, you are in abroad trying to buy land, trying to build house, trying to invest in property, or whatever it is very, very important. All right. So I made mention that there are two major steps that you should take. First, physical inspection. All right. Physical inspection is very, very important. And the second step is legal procedure. Legal procedure. Let us start with the very first step. I said there are conditions, there are things that you should take note, there are things that you should pay attention to as you do your physical inspection. The first is pipeline or power line. Pipeline or power line. If the property is right below a power line or above power lines, this is a red flag. Now, many of us would go for these properties because they are affordable. I wolf the run belle. If you never know, may you know now, make I remind you. I wolf the run belle. It is better you spend money. Spend the money, no matter how expensive it is, than you go and buy something that is cheap, and at the end of the day, you have issues with it. All right. So if the property is right below a power line or above pipelines, yes, pipelines, this is a red flag, which means you should not even go further to purchase this property, and it is very dangerous, and you may end up losing it in the nearest future. You can argue that with me. You can argue that with anyone. It is, believe it or not, this is very, very important. It is very, very important, and it is very, very true. Let's talk about the next point under physical inspection. All right, road alignment. Now, many of us have experienced properties, especially shops, stores, business places that has been demolished, that has come under destruction, that has been demolished. Why? Because when the roads of a particular area, major roads especially, is about going under construction, when the Lord finally answers the prayers of those living in that community, and the government now considers going, looking into constructing the road for that particular company, we then begin to see houses, we then begin to see shops, we then begin to see so many places going under destruction because these properties are on the road. So road alignment is something that you really, really need to check out for. All right, the entire property or half of it may be falling right on the road alignment. This is a bad deal because if you go ahead with the purchase, no matter how cheap it is, in the nearest future, the entire property or part of it may be useless at the end of the day, as it may become confiscated or be of public interest on the long run. Now, how many of you, those of you that stay in Lagos, how many of you remembered when the Oshodi bus terminal was about being constructed. How many of you will remember? I remember visiting Oshodi. I was going out. I can't remember where I was going to then. That's some years back, quite a long time ago. I saw so many shops destroyed, so many properties. I felt bad. Some of you will say, oh, the government is bad. Oh, my village people has finally got. No, this has nothing to do with your village people. This has nothing to do with government being wicked. And this has nothing to do with any, what's the word now? It's just escaped my mind. Oh my goodness. When I remember it, I will bring it. So this has nothing to do with government being wicked. This has to do with you not paying your due diligence. All right. And many of you might even be aware of these things. And for the fact that out of greediness, selfishness, and out of a wolf rumbele shenanigans, or if I should put it that way, you go into this. And no worry, nothing will happen. After some of you will say, after all, they've said this place is for road construction over 10 years now, over 20 years now, over 100 years now. They've not done anything to it. Don't worry, the government will wake up one day. They will definitely wake up one day, no matter how long that place has been. If they say, oh, this place was supposed to be, this place initially was meant for this place is meant for that, and 100 billion years later, nothing has been done, and you think you can go ahead to start building on it and start, no. Road alignment is something you should look out for. It is very, very important. The next point is flooding in the environment. Yes, flooding in the environment. It has commonly been said that the best time to inspect a property you want to buy is during the rainy season. It is very, very true. During the rainy season. Don't go and look for property during dry season. No. You get it? If you don't get it, forget about it. Yeah. You really need to watch out for flood or waterlogged areas when trying to secure a landed property in Nigeria. There are some places that the residents may have to use canoe as a means of transportation to get to their house during rainy seasons. And some houses would have drainage issues. These are things you need to look out for. It is very, very important. Look out for the flooding, the flooding condition in that particular environment you are looking out. You want to get your property, that particular environment you're looking out for in getting your desired property. So the flooding condition of that environment is very, very important. The flooding condition of that environment is very, very important. The next thing to look out for is signage. Signage. What do I mean? Another important parameter you need to pay attention to are signs such as caveat emptor, buyer aware, caveat emptor, yes, caveat emptor, buyer aware. You know those signs that will say this land is not for sale. Beware of my sons, they will kill you or they can kill you. This property is not for sale. This house is not for sale. Beware of my son, Emeka. He is very dangerous. He is very, very deadly. So look out for things like that. This property is not for sale, and so on and so forth. No, signs like this are not signs that you should ignore. All right, these are signs that are indication that you should ask more questions. All right, you need to see these signs on property. That means you really need to you really need to make thorough research before you decide to make payments for such property. Check out for occupancy. Yes, it is very important. That is my next point. Check out for occupancy. It is very essential. You need to check if there are people occupying the property you want to buy. It may be via lease or rental. For instance, you can see various landed properties where there are mechanic workshops, mini block industries, and so on. Usually, the owner of a form of agreement with this. Usually the owner have a form of agreement with these people. In most cases, it may be that the owner doesn't want to use the land for a particular period of time. So in order not to just keep it vacant, the owner tends to, give it out to people so that they can occupy it for a period of time until he or she is ready to, do some buildings or carry out some activities on that land. So when you see this, you need to ask for more questions. You need to ask for more questions about the people that put them there and the people they've been paying rent to. With that, you can trace the real owner of the property. All right. So it is key. It is very important. You go to empty land, you see people using it to run their businesses and all that. Ask questions. Ask. And who have you been paying rent to? Who is your make, thorough questions. Do not be ashamed. Do not be scared. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to buy a land where you will start regretting and say, oh, Had I Know. The Had I Know song is not a song that is sweet in the mouth to sing. Vacancy is another thing to look out for. If you intend to purchase a house or an apartment, it is very essential that you check its vacancy status. If there's a sitting tenant in the house, you may want to confirm the time of their tenancy and their willingness to vacate the premises or points of purchase. So it is very important to check the vacancy level, the vacancy status of any property. If there is somebody occupying that particular bungalow, luxury apartment that you want to purchase, ask questions. Ask questions. How long have you been here? How long are you going to be here? This property has been placed for sale. This bungalow, this house, this land has been placed for sale, yeah? This land or whatever property has been placed for sale, and I'm interested in buying in it. Oh, you've been living here. How long have you been living here? How long have you been doing business here? How long do you intend to live? Don't go and buy property that somebody has extra 5 years or 7 years to stay. So it is important, in order for you to avoid any form of controversy at the end of the day, you need to ask questions, all right? You need to ask very, very essential questions to check the vacancy status of that particular property, the willingness to vacate the premises, how long they intend to stay there, and all that. Let's also talk about quality of finishing. All right, that is the next point when it comes to physical inspection. When trying to buy a house in Nigeria, especially in Lagos, either on the mainland or on the island, it is very essential that you are sure of the quality of the finishing of the house. Although, if you don't like the finishing, but you like the house, you can always scrap out the finishing, but it will go a long way in your negotiation. Also, check out for cracks on the wall. These cracks may be fundamental, and at times it may be minor, but that doesn't mean that they should be overlooked. Don't overlook anything. Put your eye down, shine your eye, look very well. Be very, very observant. Be very, very observant. However, if you find cracks in some very sensitive parts of the building, ask questions about why those cracks are there to be sure whether they are fundamental or they are minor. Pay attention to every little detail. There are some things that you can overlook. There are some things that you cannot overlook. Ask questions. Okay, somebody sent videos of some properties, some apartments for rentage, and I said I actually don't like one from the video I saw because I discovered the wall had these this kind of stains that I don't like, irritating stains that I don't like. And that was what even made me say, no, I cannot go for this kind of apartment. I don't like that particular thing on the wall. It is something we can work out. It is something we can, but if you choose to ignore it and say, okay, yeah, it is something I can actually cover up, I can cement, I can build, I can construct, reconstruct, let it be part of your negotiation, all right? It should go a long way in your negotiation. If the landlord, for instance, if it's an apartment that is not tiled and you want a tiled apartment, you can say, okay, I would love to tile. I love this house. I love this place. I love the environment. I love everything about it. But the finishing is not what I really, really like. Okay, I would love to do some adjustments. I would love to put windows here. I love to put a window here. I love to tile the floor. It should go in your negotiation. Negotiate. Sign it. Don't do much negotiation, no, because some landlords will just wake up tomorrow and say, I come the law. I did not agreement this agreement with you. So it is very important you have a written negotiation if at all you're going to make an adjustment in any property, in any apartment that you want to acquire. Hope I'm making sense. If I'm not making sense, it means you don't have sense. All right, let's move on. Finishing, quality of finishing. Quality of water is another thing to look out for. Quality of water is another thing to look out for. This is another essential parameter you need to pay attention to. Ensure that you check out the tap of the water. Open the tap and see the type of water that comes out of it. Especially if you are going for properties in Lekki, the Lagos Island in general, if you know what I'm talking about. I remember going for an event somewhere in Lekki. I think that should be, what's the name of this environment now? Orchard Road. Is it Orchard Road? Is it Orchard Road? Yeah, but somewhere on the island. It was an event center. And when I got there, because usually sometimes it depends on the distance of the event. And by the way, I'm an event MC. I host events, I anchor events, all kinds of events. Yeah, corporate, social events and all that. That's just an aside. All right. So I attended this event, and usually, depending on the distance of the event, I usually take my clothes. I take my clothes to the event center, look for a room somewhere private, and just dress up and get ready for the event. So when I got to the event center, I went straight to the restroom in order to wash my hands, wash my legs, wash my face, dress up and prepare. When I on the tap in the restroom, my goodness, the water was the odor of the water was very bad, extremely bad. The color of the water was something else. It was something else. And I can imagine what residents in that particular environment goes through during, when it has to do with getting good water. And then I discovered that after the event, when I got home, when I got to my house, where I live, I went to the restroom to use myself, and my urine, the odor of the urine was exactly the odor of the water at that event center. I was surprised, and I said to myself, okay, why? How is this possible? I didn't drink the water. So it could be that, are you thinking what I'm thinking already? So the effect of these things can be, very dangerous to our health. So quality of water is very, very important. It is very, very important. You may want to confirm whether the developer had done a proper borehole and functional water treatment. It would be very bad if you are living in a house and the water running from your tap is colorful or has a weird odor. Yes. So these are the things you need to cross-check when buying a landed property in Nigeria. Another thing that you should look out for is history. This is very important. You need to ask around from people living nearby the property for the history of the property. You don't believe in fairy tale, right? But then you need to be very careful and not ignore even the tiniest bit of information on the history of any house you want to buy. You can ask around from people staying nearby, ask them what they know about the property. There may be a wicked agent going around duping people with property, or maybe it has sold the same property for different people. And if you don't reach out to them, they may not want to reach out to you to warn you. So you can ask simple questions like, what do you know about this property? Since when has it been vacant? Do you know the owner? Just to be very careful so that you don't fall into the wrong hands. Besides, you can never be too careful, I remember I had a story of a realtor. I think a realtor who shared an experience. It was a conversation about fraud and fraud in real estate. And this person said his father bought a property, was it 2 or 3 times? After paying for it for the first time, he discovered Later on, some people just came and say, now we get this land, though. He had to, because he loved and wanted that place, he had to pay for it again. And I think he paid for it 3 times. So you can imagine paying for one particular property 2 to 3 times because you don't want to lose it. And you don't want to go through that experience, right? You don't want to go through that experience. However, after making the physical inspection, and you are now sure and satisfied with the environment and most of the things that relate with the property, you should then take a further step by taking legal procedures. Remember, we are talking about due diligence step to take before buying properties in Nigeria. And the first thing I mentioned was physical inspection, all right? Physical inspection, yes, physical inspection. And I have highlighted the fact that you need to look out for pipeline or power line. You need to look out for road alignment. You need to look out for flooding in the environment. You need to look out for signage. You need to check for occupancy, all right? You need to check out the vacancy status, all right? You need to also look out for quality of finishing of that particular property, the quality of water as well. The history of that particular property is very, very important. After doing all this and you are fully satisfied, you've taken the steps that I've just mentioned, and you are very much satisfied that, okay, yes, after taking this physical inspection, taking these precautions, I think I can now go for this property. All right, let's take a quick break and then we'll continue the other half of this conversation.
Looking for a studio to run online radio shows, podcast series, record jingles? The Cedarwood Luxury Studio is highly equipped and available to give you the very best of studio experience.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Michael Ahwetie. I'm the Managing Director of P1 Pro, and I want to encourage you to subscribe to Cedarwood Radio.
Yes, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow our Facebook page. Turn on notification on our YouTube channel so that you'll be notified whenever we come your way. Do not forget, this is Cedarwood Luxury Online Radio. We are Nigeria's first real estate radio, and my name is David, and this particular program is the real estate market trend. We look into different trends, different happenings in the real estate industry. We bring you informative and educative conversations to help you, guide you, and see you through the real estate business. And today is not an exception. We have been talking about due diligence steps to take before buying a property, before buying properties in Nigeria. And it is very, very key. We have this conversation. It is also very, very important. Yes, of utmost importance, you pay attention to these steps and, follow them, take them, follow them one after the other. Let us look into the second part of this conversation, which is legal procedure. Legal procedure. Yes. Engaging a legal practitioner is the first thing you need to do. After doing your physical inspection, take legal procedure. And the first thing to do is engaging a legal practitioner. You need to engage a legal practitioner that is very good in property practice to conduct due diligence for you on the property you intend to buy and prepare all the necessary documents before you make payment. The property title could be a governor's consent via a deed of assignment or lease. It could be a C of O. You need to take note that a survey plan is not recognized title document. It's just a document that picture out the location of the property and indicating a name on it. If this is presented to you as a document of title, we would encourage you. I'm also encouraging you on this program this morning not to accept it. I wish I had a lawyer here this morning to throw more light on this. I should have Barrister Rejoice one day on this program. We'll probably have a part 2 of this, and I'll drag Barrister Rejoice to the studio. I know he's a very busy person, but I'll try to drag him so that we can have, he can throw more light on, the legal part of getting a property. All right? So do not settle for a survey plan recognition. No, don't settle for it. Don't settle for a survey plan title document. It is just to show you the name and the location. No. Make person no can give you, okay, this is the picture of the survey plan, blah, blah, blah. It is not acceptable. You need to engage a legal practitioner that is very good in property practice to conduct due diligence for you on the property you intend to buy and prepare all the necessary documents before you make payment. The property title could be 1, government consent via a deed of assignment or lease. It could also be C of O. You need to take note that a survey plan is not a recognized title document. It is not a recognized title document. It is just a document that pictures out the location of the property and indicating a name on it. If this is presented to you as a document of title, don't even collect the document, not even to accept buying that property because of that document. A word is enough for the wise. Visiting the land registry is another legal step procedure that you should take. Visiting the land registry. Your lawyer would go ahead to search at the land registry of the state or the federal land registry. If the land is a state land, the governor's consent, your lawyer would visit the state land registry to conduct the search of the property. And if it is a federal land, then your lawyer would need to visit the federal land registry to conduct the search. By conducting the search, you would be able to find out the history of the property. Who owns the property? The exact size of the property? Transactions on the property, whether it has been used as a mortgage or encumbered in any way, or whether it has been sold or leased to some people in the past, and every other thing related to the property. After the search, your lawyer would advise you on the true status of the property. Another legal step to take is existing charges. Existing what? Charges. Existing charges, yes. You need to ensure to check if there are existing charges on the property by backlogs. Land use charge or electricity bill. Many of us have experienced this. Quite a number of experience, yes, where you, especially when it comes to renting apartments, you get into the apartment. I remember listening to a radio conversation, and a young man got an apartment and later discovered that about ₦1 million things are really happening. So it is very, very important. And then he reached out to the landlord, and you hear things like, there is nothing I can do. You can't afford to, get a property, paying so much for it, going through the stress and all that, and then you discover that there is a backlog of charges. I mean, there are backlogs of charges for you to, and then no. And this is even a conversation for another day. All right, how to deal with situations like this. I'm going to bring up, probably we'll do that next week. Let's see how it goes. We'll try and do that next week. I'll see if I can get Barrister Rejoice to the studio and have that conversation. How to deal with backlogs. All right, how to deal with backlogs. We'll look into that conversation, deep into that conversation. So it is very, very important that you check if there are existing charges on property by backlogs. Land use charge or electricity bill. The electricity bill part is even the most common. The most common, you get into a property and you discover that the previous occupant is owing a lot of money, and then you start paying, and all that. You don't want to experience that. It may be possible that since the owner wants to sell he has neglected paying the land use charges on the property. In some states, it is called tenement rent and ground rent in some other states. All right, whether it is whichever way it is called in your state, this statutory fee on every property, and it's the obligation of the owner to pay on a yearly basis. All right, so you need to check if there are any backlogs that are yet to be remitted by the owner. This does not mean the property is not good for purchase, but it will also influence your negotiation. If the seller knows you are going to be clearing all these bills, it can be used in a form of negotiation. So it is key you take note and look out for that. Let's talk about the next legal steps that you can take, legal procedures that you can take before buying a property. Building approval document. Yes, the building approval document. All right. You may want to request for a building approval document. Yes. If it's a property such as a duplex, house, or a flat, it's not of place for you to ask whether there is a building approval document. This is to ensure that after buying the property, you are not faced with losing the property to the government when they come to demolish it for lack of building approval. All right, so it is very important you request for building approval documents. Yes, it is not out of place for you to ask whether there is a building approval document. It is your right. As far as you are interested in getting that property, it is your right. It is very important you ask, you request for building approval documents before going ahead to purchase that. Another legal procedure that you should take, is technical matters. Yes, it is important you visit the property with a technical person, such as an engineer, a builder, an architect, or anybody that is good in structural or technical matters relating to properties. It is very, very important, most especially to check the structure to be sure that the property is well built before you go ahead to make the purchase. These people can also help to check out the correction and renovation that would be needed to be done to make the property suitable for you. So consult a technical a technical person, all right, such as an engineer, a builder, an architect, a developer, and all that, to help you look into some things to be sure that the property you are getting is suitable for you. Also, check out for litigation. Yes, that's another legal steps. That's another legal step that you can take. Check out for litigation. Yes, check out for litigation. You may want to check the property listing at the High Court. You may want to check the property listing at the High Court registry of your state. There is a list where you have description of properties that are under litigation. So it may be that there is a contention on that particular property between parties, and it is registered at the High Court. Your lawyer can go the extra mile of visiting the High Court of Registry to find out if the property you want to buy falls among the properties that is under litigation. You see, it would be wrong and not advisable for you to buy a property that is under litigation because judgments of the court may end up not favoring the seller. So it is key. It is very, very important that you check out for litigation. Check out for properties. When checking out for properties, be sure that you are also checking out for litigation. If there is any contention, if there is any issue, any form of challenges on that particular property you're looking out for. All right. So Having said all this, if it is a land that, however, if it's a land you may also want to visit with a land surveyor to confirm that the location of the land matches with the document of title presented to you by the seller. Please take note of that. The surveyor would visit the site with their GPS to take the beacons and the coordinates to be able to confirm to you that the land which you have been brought to purchase is the same as one described in the survey plan attached to the land document of title. There shouldn't be any form of contention. If the document has been presented to you, be very, very sure you go. You visit the property, especially when it comes to land. When it comes to landed property, yes, be sure you visit that land with a surveyor to confirm that the location of the land matches with the document of title presented to you by the seller. There shouldn't be any form of contradiction. Your surveyor can help you, check the documents presented to you with his GPS and, checking out the beacons and the coordinates. And he's very, this is just to confirm, to be very sure that, yes, what is on the land is also what is on the document, all right? Having done all this and you are satisfied and advised by your lawyer to go ahead and make payments, your lawyer can then go ahead to draft a document of purchase. And it is better if your lawyer that prepared the document of purchase, it is very, very important. It is very, very important. So your lawyer can then go ahead to draft a document of purchase. And it is better if it is your lawyer that prepared the document of purchase, because you are the one who is parting with money. Then your interest should be protected as well. In addition, upon payment and signing for the property, it is advisable that you take immediate possession of the property. One of the best ways to assert ownership on the property is through active possession. Immediately you buy the land, commence the erection of your fence. Activities on the land. That way, if there is a third-party interest on anybody that feels you are wrong to have possessed the property, such people can show up and challenge you, and then things can be resolved as soon as possible. Possession is very, very important. It is very important. It is not always good to leave your land fallow, as it may attract land hijackers. Although you may eventually get back your property, but the stress is not worth it. And this reminds me, I had a conversation with my dad a few days ago, and he was talking about acres of land that the church got, and they actually had pastors meeting, and it was as a result. The meeting was as a result of the fact that land hijackers have started hijacking, some of the land, some of the spaces, some part of the land that the church got. And this land was bought, I think, year 2010, and this is 2023. And I was like, no, it doesn't happen that way. You don't buy a land and you just leave it fallow. At least build a fence. There should be activity. There should be something going on in that particular land. So even if you're not ready, to commence building, it is important you take possession immediately. Take immediate possession of the property. And one of the best ways to assert ownership of that property is through active possession. At least build fence, build something around it. Let there be that fence around it. Build a fence around it. Let something, so that if if a third party comes tomorrow and wants to show interest, or somebody rises up tomorrow and say, oh, you are wrong, you have evidence. You're not going to need to explain that, because you get evidence. All right. So it is key you take active possession of of your landed property. After taking possession of your property, it is also important that you go ahead to register your title. Yes, go ahead to register your title. Some people just buy properties and just leave it for a long time before taking possession because they believe they know the person that sold it to them. It's not just enough. I mean, okay, the seller may be a family friend or someone very close, and in some cases where the person eventually dies, there would be nobody to validate your story. So you go explain tire, get evidence. So it is important that you go and register your title. Go and register your title. Go and register your title. So documentation is very essential. It is very important that you register your title with the state land registry so that the government will be aware that you are now in ownership of that particular property, and it serves as a notice to anybody that wants to buy or take ownership of the property, because your name would already be documented as the owner of that particular property. So when a new buyer comes to conduct their search, they will find out that the property belongs to you, and they must deal with you and you alone to purchase the property. Lastly, if the seller's document covers the entire property you are buying, it is advisable, it is very, very advisable that you ensure you retrieve all the original copies of the document to the property from the seller. After all, it doesn't need them anymore since he has sold the property. Should not be your mindset, all right? It should not be something that you should even think of. It is important that it is very important and it is very advisable that you ensure you retrieve all the original copies of the document of that particular property from the seller. After all, it doesn't need it. It doesn't need it at the end of the day. So go and collect it. Collect the original documents. Collect the original documents. And also make photocopies of them and keep them in case of necessity. In conclusion, these are the important due diligence steps we would encourage you. I am encouraging you this morning to take when purchasing a property in Nigeria, whether it is a land or a house. You can run it. Yes, thank you very much for being a part of this session. If you have further questions, even after the end of the session, let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep the conversation going even after the end of this session. We'll be right back we'll be back again by 1 p.m. Yes, we'll be back again by 1 p.m. We'll have a very, very important conversation for 1 p.m. this afternoon. You don't want to miss that session. Yes, you don't want to miss it. Do well to join us again by 1 p.m. We're having a conversation preparing for a successful real estate career in 2024 and beyond. And we'll be having Ambassador Dr. Julius Oyedemi, the MD CEO of P1 Plus. Yes, that will be coming up by 1 p.m. The radio edition of the School of Strategy will be coming up by 1 p.m. See you again, and thank you very much. God bless you all.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Michael Ahwetie. I'm the Managing Director of P1 Pro, and I want to encourage you to subscribe to Cedarwood Radio.